top story, of course, we're tracking at this hour comes nearly an year after that damaging report by Hindenburg on Adani Group. We're now given to understand, looking at all the wealth that Adani has created, the market cap is nearly double of what it was, from its lows at the end of January of 2023.
Yeah, so Shweta, it's in fact exactly a year since the Hindenburg research report came out. It came out on the 25th of January 2023. Today we are sitting on the 25th of Jan 2024, and just a few hours from now, it was within market hours, I remember that the report had actually surfaced, and we saw the Adani stock take the kind of beating we had never seen any stock in the history of stocks in India take a beating. And there was up to $100 billion worth of erosion of wealth, erosion of market cap when it came to Adani family's own holding in the Adani Group and the Adani stock itself. So over a period of multiple downs, very few ups, we actually saw the wealth erode from a market cap of about 19.2 lakh crores coming to below 7 lakh crore rupees at about 6.8 lakh crore rupees. And yeah, I mean, things have recovered, things have shaped up all right for Gautam Adani and his family and all the 10 listed companies of Adani. Not all of them are back in the green. In fact, only 3 out of the 10 listed stocks of Adani have been able to recoup what they had lost and continue to trade in the green. But 7 out of those 10 continue to be in the red, and they haven't really been able to come back to their pre-Hindenburg research report release levels. Now, which are the sectors which have done well for the Adani Group? Adani Power and Adani Ports and SEZ seem to be the best performing assets in the arsenal of Adani Group, which have recovered and have in fact added wealth in excess of what it was in the pre-Hindenburg research report. Now, very interestingly, today's Times of India, the edit page has a nice 6-column opinion piece written by Gautam Adani, and he is really looking back at the 1 year that has gone by and some very interesting quotes there and some very interesting insights there, and one among them, of course, being the fact that he let the bat do the talking and did not really appear much in the media, did not give interviews, and the performance of the companies all through last year have done most of the talking when it comes to the allegations which were made against the Adani Group by Hindenburg Research. At the same time, of course, the Supreme Court verdict also coming in favor of Adani Group, and those multiple instances leading up to that final verdict from the Supreme Court, where at one point the Supreme Court of India had also said that any media reports, including those of Hindenburg Research or OCCRP, cannot be taken as gospel of truth.
Absolutely.
So I think a lot has gone on in the last 1 year. 3 out of the 10 companies are doing better than the pre-Hindenburg research levels. Adani Group, in fact, the chairman of Adani Group, Gautam Adani, in his piece in the Times of India today, also looking at what they did right and how they went on, with life and went on with running the business in the best possible manner, and also in a way paying an ode or a tribute to those who continue to be invested in the Adani Group story. And not surprising, 2 names that find mention there are GQG and Qatar Investment Agencies. So QIA and GQG are 2 of the investors who continue to be focused on the Adani story, continue to pump money. Of course, they've made their own money by those investments when they invested into the Adani stock when it was trading at lower levels. But what Gautam Adani is also saying is that that gave them the war chest to go on and continue expanding business.
Absolutely. And let's take a look at some of the things that Gautam Adani and companies did right during that period, and one of which was to clear off the debt. They started clearing off the debt immediately after Hindenburg, when the market cap hit an all-time low of 6.8 lakh crore rupees, and they continued on that trajectory till the end of the year, giving investors some confidence in the future of these companies. Now, you're right, only 3 out of all the 10 listed companies have emerged out of those pre-COVID, pre-Hindenburg research levels. But, rest of these companies have also shown a gradual upward movement. Trajectory has been on an improvement line when it comes to, building investors' faith and confidence.
Absolutely. So I think let's look at what are the things that Gautam Adani did right. I don't know if if we would now be in a position to, to question if there was anything wrong in the first place or not. And I think that part of the investigation continues to be with SEBI, and SEBI is still trying to figure out, those 2 out of the 24 pending issues which are yet to be closed on SEBI's own end. But from what we know is, let's look at what are the things that Gautam Adani definitely did do right. Number one, he continued to, and the group continued to call the allegations baseless, continued to say that this is a war against India, not necessarily only a war against the Adani Group. And Gautam Adani also saying that India's critical infrastructure, the ports and the airports, could have potentially taken a massive beating had the Adani Group not had the wherewithal, the financial muscle and the right business practices to overcome that tide and that spade of attacks which were happening against India, as he calls it, not just against Adani Group. Now, you're right. I think repayment of debt was definitely one major boost, one major step which gave the investors the confidence that Adani Group does have the financial muscle, and if the company is leveraged, it is leveraged only to grow exponentially. It doesn't mean they don't have the financial muscle to repay the debt. So it's a solvent company. The company does not have a problem with its cash flows. So that was one very strong statement that emerged with Gautam Adani and the Adani Group repaying a lot of debt on its books. The second was getting these investors like QIA and GQG to come in and invest at a time when it wanted to shore up that financial muscle. So these are things that Adani Group has definitely done right. I think what could have perhaps been expected from a group like Adani would have been, of course, a more frequent, open interaction with media. Let pointed questions come their way, come out in the public more often. Don't just call the Adani Group allegations baseless and OCCRP reports. In fact, he had preempted the OCCRP report by saying that something almost as catastrophic as the Hindenburg research report is likely to come out. So that statement had come before time. There was one interview,
but that's also owing to the fact that OCCRP did reach out to Gautam Adani and the Adani Group. So obviously they knew that a report is in the making.
Right. So, of course, I mean, it's difficult right now to understand that even at a time when Indian markets, the Sensex and the Nifty, both the indices are trading in higher territories from Jan 25th last year. 7 out of the 10 Adani groups are still in the red. They haven't been able to recoup their pre-Hindenburg research levels. The market cap of Adani Group is still down by about 5 lakh crores, which is a sizable amount. So, from its lows, it has recovered and it has in fact doubled the lows. But 5 lakh crores from the peak of its market cap is still a large number, and a lot of ground still needs to be covered.
And it looks like that ground could be covered. But, before we close this chapter once and for all, is Adani out of the allegations that Hindenburg made? Can we now say for certain that those allegations have not stood the merit of the Indian judicial courts, and Adani Group has now been exonerated, so to say?
See, I think without paraphrasing too much, what I understand from the Supreme Court judgment is that let's not look at Hindenburg research, let's not look at OCCRP, let's perhaps not look at any other speculation which is out there in the media. The ball is squarely in the court of SEBI. The market regulator has to do its due diligence, has to conclude its investigations, and only upon conclusion of all the 24 points in that investigation, where, as we understand, 2 points are still open, mostly accruing to the fact that SEBI has not yet been able to penetrate those opaque structures of final beneficiaries at the top of the food chain of global investors in the Adani Group. But again, there is no scope left by Supreme Court for any investigative agency like ED to get in play here. And the investigation will have to be concluded by SEBI. How soon can SEBI conclude that?
That is inconclusive.
It continues to be inconclusive, but I think it rests on how soon can SEBI file its final report, and whatever it has found or things which are still left open will at some level help us understand, is there scope for some penalty on Gautam Adani or the Adani Group of companies? Is there any potential of wrongdoing when it comes to minimum shareholding norms not being followed, etc.? But until that SEBI report comes out, I don't think the Adani Group of companies is completely out of the woods. But there is massive relief that there isn't going to be any other investigative agency like the ED looking into the matter, and the ball is only in the court of SEBI.
All right. So while Hindenburg allegations are not closed once and for all, it appears that Adani Group has now got a fresh life, a lease for that matter, with its market cap doubling from its lows in the mid of 2023. All is looking nice and bright for Adani Group of companies.